Hi there, welcome to my tutorial in which we are building a reactive Clojure web application that lets you manage in a simple way your contacts, well, just for demonstration purposes. Last time we've implemented the client-server communication and how to fetch the contacts from the server in order to display them on the client, on the browser side. And today we're going to implement updating and deleting contacts and persisting these changes to the server. So when reloading the page, the changes will still be persisted. Persisting here doesn't mean we're going to write these things to a database or something. We're just keeping them in an atom on the server side, so no database mangling today. In detail this means we have to put this contacts data array or vector into an atom. We have to implement the call on the server side and of course also on the client side. And I hope this is fun for you and encourages you to try your own stuff. Let's get started. Okay, first of all, I'm going to start the REPL because that takes a moment, as we know. Then I'm going to open the source file, first of all the server-side file, and I'm going to take this hardwired data stuff here that we left there last time when implementing our event message handler for sente. And instead I'm going to define a, let's call it DB, an atom, and put the data in there instead. And then we can just dereference the atom here instead, and that shouldn't have changed any behavior so far. Okay, our REPL is there, so that means I can connect my Emacs to it. Let's do that. Then I can call the run function. It takes a second as usual. Okay, now let's have a look at the current status. Fetch, blah 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 blah. Change it, but when we fetch again, then the changes are reverted because the server doesn't know anything about changes. Okay, and now let's just open the inspector and look at our WebSockets, which will be interesting in a second. Okay, first of all, we're going to deal with our event message handler function on the server side. We're going to make it somewhat nicer. Let's first collect an answer that we are optionally giving back to the client in case it provides us with a reply function, and then make this a case statement that switches on the ID that we've that got passed, which is in fact the event ID. Well, the first case that already exists is the contacts fetch case, and we just want to return the value of the DB atom there. So next one is update that we're going to introduce right now, and let's say, well, we will have to provide the server side with some more data, and sente provides a optional data field to the event message handler, and we're going to fill this on the client side in a minute. And then we also want to implement the delete stuff, and we're just putting dummy code in that one as well for now. Okay, and then within the let, we're going to check if reply function is defined, and if it is, then we're calling it with the answer. Okay, so that means we can remove this part here, and this should still work as expected, or as we've seen before. Shouldn't have changed anything. We're going to reload the page. I've compiled the function again, and then we see that I forgot. Okay, yeah. Well, sente, of course, knows a few internal message types, so we have to provide a default case to this case statement, just doing nothing, returning nil, and just let these internal sente events through. It's still complaining. I think it takes. Okay, is it okay now? Let's see. This is still working. Delete is still working. Okay, now when I when I click fetch, then it gets reset. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's now the point where we go over to the client-side code, which we have here. And first of all, we're going to find the location where we are updating our state, which is when within the editable text view the user presses enter, then the save function gets called, which is defined over here. And what we want to do is we want to wrap this update this call to the update function of OM into our own function. That's why we call it, let's say, update contact, and it's getting a cursor, it's getting a key and a value, and what it does is nothing else than, well, actually I can cut and paste it. Where is it? Over there. Take this one here, put it right here, and that means it's doing nothing else. Okay, I saved too early because we have to call it, of course, update contact with state key like this. No, this is, was that correct? State, oops, yeah, state key and temp value in that case. Was it temp value like this? And then of course we have to adjust the symbols over here. That is the cursor, that is the key, and that is the value, like this. Okay, so we should do the same for the delete case. The delete case is here. We are calling transact on our contacts and removing the one with the ID. Actually, we can take this here once again, take it, create a new function, delete contact, which gets nothing but the ID, and does this. Well, we don't need to print anymore. We are transacting, or we want to adjust the value of the contacts, which we are getting here from our ref cursor, because we only know about the ID. Yeah, and then this function, this anonymous function, gets called with the contacts here. We're removing those, and this is what we have to change. We have to compare this against the ID. Like this, and this should be it. Now we have to rebuild, or we have to fix this here, because we have to call the delete contact function with the ID of the contact. Okay, so far so good. We should not have changed any behavior yet, because we've just refactored stuff here. Let's try if that's really true, or if I've missed something or messed up something. So this is working. When I delete it and adjust chain, it seems to be working as well. Yeah, okay. Nice. So that's not too spectacular, but allows us to now get to the stuff we want to do. Yeah, because what we want to do right now is we want to insert a call to the server here, which is check send, and then we have to provide some kind of event, as it is called in sente lingo. First of all, we have to provide the ID, which is contacts update in this case, and we have to provide some data, which is the ID of the contact, which is in fact ID of cursor, the key, which denotes which value we want to change, and of course the value, the new value that should be assigned to the contact. Okay, so what we should see now here, when let's reload again. When I now click, or when I now edit something, then we should see in our WebSocket that something, that a call happens to the server side. And due to the fact that we have done nothing here but print our data for the contacts update and contacts delete cases, we should see the data get printed here. So let's try this. 1, 2, 3. Okay. First of all, the WebSocket call is there, the request containing exactly the data that we've specified on the client side, and this also gets passed through to the server, as we see. Sente just wraps it into this optional key mapping, or value of the key of the map that we are destructuring here. Okay, but what do we want to do here? We want to not just print it, we want to update our atom, which is effectively a reset. And what we have to do now is we've built a vector from a lazy map, because map just returns the lazy sequence. And what we want to do is, let's think about it, we want to replace the element with the ID. So when okay, no, we have to do an if here. If the ID of the element we're iterating over is equal to the ID of our data that we got from the client, then we want to return an altered element, and we want to alter the key and replace the value of that with no, I think we call it value, yeah, data, like this. And if it's not true, or if we're not currently iterating over that element we're searching for, then we just want to pass it back unchanged. And we of course have to tell the map what to iterate over, which is just the value that our atom refers to. Okay, now let's have a look. We can check in the REPL here if our changes have been persisted on the server side. This is the value of the atom on the server side here. We see that Mike, the name of Mike is still Mike. And now when we're I'm not quite sure if I have to compile this, of course. I think I missed this. Now I reload the page once more, fetch the contacts. Okay, so that seems to have worked, and now, yeah. As you can see, the change that we made now got passed through to the server, and the server has updated the atom, and that should work for any value we change now. Yeah, great. Once more, chain 324. Okay, great. So that in turn means when I press the fetch contacts button, then I still get the new value, because that's the one the server now returns when fetching all contacts, and that also holds for when reloading the page entirely. Yeah. Okay, great. So now what we're missing is the delete functionality. Let's go to the client side and insert the call to the server, and this time we're just, of course, we're changing the ID, which is contacts delete for this case, and we're passing the ID, which is, well, actually ID, and nothing more. That's enough. In turn, on the server side, we should now see ID, right? So that's okay. But we want to, of course, reset the value of our atom to a vector, and we want to remove the element if the ID of the element we're iterating over matches the ID that got passed in our data from the client. And we of course have to tell remove what to iterate over once more, which is the value of dB. Once again, compile it, reload the page, and now okay, so let's have a look at the REPL again. Let's say Mike is still there. Let's delete the record, and then Mike is gone, sadly. Okay, so fetching contacts doesn't change anything about that. Reloading the page doesn't change anything, and we can still edit stuff here, and it's also persisting. Okay, so as it seems, we've changed the behavior of the application so that our updates get stored on the server side, although there's no database involved yet, but we'll come to that later probably. Yeah, so thank you for watching. I hope that this was helpful for you, and you're going to mess with your own Clojure web application stuff. Bye bye.